This is Paul Sandeman with Business Success Tips, where you'll learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. I have Brandon today with me from Contractors Coach. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do, Brandon, and who you do it for?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. My name is Brandon Fuchs. I am the contractor coach with Elite Builder Society. You can find me on Instagram at the underscore contractor coach if you want to chat about your business, and I'll throw that at the end as well. But essentially, what we do within our community is we help contractors that are trying to go from like, 0 to 500,000 or even up to 2 to 2 million plus. We help these contractors take their business to the next level by sharing with them systems and strategies that have worked for me to execute well over $100 million worth of work.
Okay, so what are some of those systems and strategies look like, Brandon?
Well, there are specific marketing tactics that a lot of people, probably overlook. I've learned that exceeding your client's expectation is really, really important, but then also sharing that experience with clients. Every client that comes through your door, a great experience with them should generate five more clients. Some say like two or three more clients. I believe that every customer should generate you five more clients. And so we really teach people to help them amplify the messaging and really maximize the connection with the current project they're working on with future opportunities.
So can you give me some specifics of that, of how they actually get five clients from one?
Well, I mean, it takes time. Nothing happens overnight, but at the end of the day, the essential component really is paying your client for a Google review. So this is one of them. Everybody tries to get a Google review from a client, and I don't think they try hard enough. So if I said this to a contract, if I said, "Hey, I'm going to give you 100 grand to go get that Google review from that client," because that's the opportunity that could come from that getting that
Mhm.
Google review. So how much do you really want it? How much do you really want this Google review? Do you really want it? And are you cool with them just saying, whatever they want? Or do you actually want to encourage them to, share photos? Do you actually want to encourage them to put, real information out in the universe that represents what that experience is like? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess that makes total sense. It's like, yeah. So every job you do has to be approached with intention. Otherwise, it's just for nothing. You're just doing the job, do the job to get a little bit of money, but you actually didn't maximize the opportunity. So paying your client for a Google review is a great way. Most of them don't want your money. If you said to your client, "Hey, I'm going to pay you for a Google review," they'll be like, "No, no, I'll just give you one." Okay, cool. Like a good client will just do one for you. And if they're like, "Okay, well, yeah, no, cool, I'll do one for you." Cool. Could you make sure that you take good photos? Like I can even take the photos for you. And could you make sure that you like articulate these points that we did for you on this project? Like go out of your way to actually make the review resemble what actually took place because your customer doesn't know what your future customers need to know, and that's really what the Google review is a part of. So that's just one way to get five clients out of one client. But there's a lot of different tactics as well. So,
So,
and we do a
so
lot of other
Brandon,
things.
so Brandon, how do you get, you know, they call it, I guess, for lack of a raving fan, right? So how do you get your average client to become a raving fan?
Exceed expectation. Focus on them. Like don't focus about you. Don't focus on you. Focus on the client. Right from day one. Um, there is a sales process that doesn't just start to get the sale. It's the continuing factor that travels through the whole project. Right? You can't
Hmm.
just, lock in the sales and get some Andy Elliott sales tactic and implement it into your business and get the job and then think you got the job and then that's the end of it. It's not done until it's done. Like until you're done with this client and with this relationship. I was just on call with actually one of my contractors in North Vancouver and he was struggling to get work and I said, "Dude, like every time you get a job, you have to make sure that that relationship is fostered. Build the relationship with the client." And so we were struggling at getting them work. North Vancouver is a little bit hectic right now. It's a bit of a war zone. There's all this political bullshit that's going on here in Canada, and so we finally were able to help him get a project. And I explained to him, "This is what we're going to do on this project. We're going to make sure that this client, is going to get willing to give you a testimonial. It's mandatory. Find a way. If you're not willing to ask the questions to get it, then you're not willing to actually, you don't really want to be successful, right? So to create a raving fan of a client, it's just showing up and exceeding their expectations right from day one. And now this client has already brought him two more projects. So one $10,000 project has brought him another $70,000 worth of work. And he's just a small little contractor. And he's like, I can't even fucking believe. Sorry, Paul, this is how I
Right.
talk, but
Right.
I can't even believe this. How did I get all this work? And I'm like, all you had to do was just show up differently.
Now,
So
question for that, Brandon. So, a raving fan, I guess, the guru is part of it, but how do you get them to like get to other people? Because, you're right. If they're really excited about it, some people go, that's just not my personality. I don't want to talk about you. So, how do you help them other than be better at getting you clients? Because I think you're right. You're training your current clients to get you other clients, which they may not know how to do, and you got to show them how to do that. Is that accurate?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this. Um, what time is it where you're at today?
Right now it is 10:14 in Palm Springs.
Oh, okay, cool. Have you gone out today and got a coffee or just had an experience where somebody had to provide you with a service?
Not yet, but I'm sure it'll happen sometime today.
Okay, what about yesterday?
Yeah, I went to one service. I ate at a restaurant.
You ate at a restaurant. And so now I'm going to ask you about that experience. Did
Okay.
the hostess, did the waiter, did the restaurant, did they exceed your expectations or could they
Yeah,
have improved it?
yeah. I would say my son, it happens to be Chipotle. My son is in love with there. We would eat there every day if he had anything to do with it, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
he tells all his friends about it. He's like, I call him a raving fan because it's his favorite place to eat in the world, right? And we've been there
right.
way too many times since we've been in Palm Springs.
And so here's the deal. That experience is a reflection of the expectation that your son and you have together, right? And so Chipotle has found a way to exceed your expectations. And so you show up because you support your son, but your son shows up because he just loves the freaking food. He just
Right,
loves the food and he just
right,
thirsts for it every day. And the only thing they've done is they've delivered everything that he wants. They listen, right? Most people in business, ultimately, I was on a call with another contractor today. He's from Jersey, and he was like, "So how do I determine my rate? Do I like figure out, what all my expenses are, and then like, my insurance and all my other expenses and that kind of, and then I have to add some of my time in there. Is that how I dictate my rate?" I was like, "No, your rate is whatever people are willing to pay." You're
right.
right. What you need doesn't matter. It's what the client needs. And so what Chipotle is doing very well for your son is they've delivered on exactly what he wants, so he continues to go back. And so to get a raving fan, you need to stop talking about what you want and start listening to your customers and put the solutions in place to their problems.
Okay.
And a lot of people struggle with this in business. They just
So
think they have the
let's
right.
give you an example. You work with remodeling what kind of contracts do you work with, Brandon, mostly?
Most all GCs, pretty much all GCs. We've got a couple of subcontractors, we got a couple electricians, couple plumbers,
So
couple
to a general
HVAC.
contractor who's doing you working with remodeling contractors at all?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
remodeling contractor.
So a lot of this audience are remodeling contractors. So how do you create the raving fan again? You do a remodel.
Yeah.
What makes you different? I mean, because I think you're right. I'm just trying to figure out how do you get the client?
There's
Because most
so
people don't know how to do that. They really suck at it.
so many factors, so many factors. Again, I always like to put myself in the position of the customer, right? I'm now the customer hiring me. What do I
Mhm.
need to be like raving? Right? What do I need? And everybody's a little bit different. And so in business, I think in construction, your best skill is going to be psychology. You need to understand your customer. You need to understand what is triggering them in a bad way, what is triggering them in a good way, and get right in there. Like, here's a suggestion about creating a raving fan, right? So the client calls you, you have a very strategic method of communication. So this might not be for every customer, and that's okay. But for my contractors, this is the process. Very clean communication. We tell our clients when the estimates are going to be put out. We tell them exactly what that experience is going to look like. We explain everything. They're jaw dropped on how we are communicating with them. So we've started by exceeding another category of expectation in comparison to other contractors. So they're triggered. They're like, "Oh, this guy's got my attention now." This is how we win projects too, by the way, by doing this. And then we implement this process right from the beginning. Okay, to create a raving fan, you need to make sure that you're mindful throughout the project of what their energy levels are like. Are you invasive in their space? Does it matter if they're disappointed about the dust or about some other intrusion? It doesn't matter what your business needs. It matters that that client is happy throughout the whole project. That's the only thing that matters. So if you lose a little bit of money by over preparing, by over communicating, by bringing in cleaners, by buying them dinner because maybe you're a little bit late, or doing whatever it takes literally to make that client happy. If you break even at the end of the job and the client's happy, that's a freaking win. And it
Okay.
comes down to management, really, at the end of the day, on how you're managing the expectations of your customer.
So I would say a lot of contractors see their client as a check, not a human being, for lack of a better term, right?
All of them do. Yeah, all of them do until they meet me. And then they realize that they're not. They're a forever growing receivable. You
Right.
can always collect money. I had one client that I did a job for. He asked me unrealistic expectation, right? Long, 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 long time ago. One of my best clients to date. Um, when I was still in contracting. Never did a job for him. Never did a job for him, but we were kind of chatting a little bit. He's like, "Hey, my family and I, and they're wealthy. My family and I are going to Phoenix. We're going to Arizona for the weekend, you know. Cool part is it's my son's birthday this weekend, and they're younger, and he's still in a bunk room with his sister, and he hates it. And so what I'd really love to do is I'd love to convert this front main floor office into a bedroom this weekend. Is that something that you think you could do? And this was not just like a room. It had built-in cabinetry. Okay. It had bifold doors. It didn't have a proper door. Didn't have a proper closet. Didn't have proper lighting. Didn't have proper electrical. And it needed to be done over the weekend. And I was like, I mean, it's also an important day for me and my family. And so something else was going on for me and my family. And so I put that aside and I said, you know what? Absolutely. Because I saw the bigger picture. Right. And so I saw the bigger picture and I didn't just renovate the bedroom. There's freaking balloons in the room. The son came back. The room was fully furnished. I took all of his furniture out of his room. I built his room out, set his dresser up, put his TV up, put all his shit in that room, put balloons in there and said, "Happy birthday." He opened the door and that was the experience that he got. The client didn't ask me to do that. That's what I did. And
Hmm.
what happened from there was millions of dollars worth of work flooded to my door because I exceeded the client's expectation. Did I make a ton of money on doing the bedroom? No, but I did after, right? And so what a lot of contractors don't understand is that it's not a job. It's not a check. It's an opportunity for you to find great people, and when you find great people, you lock in. My clients, once they were working with me, would never even call another contractor. When you walk in, when another contractor walks into a home and they're looking at a renovation, and they notice that the bathroom was renovated, they notice that the kitchen was renovated, they notice that the basement was done. My first question is, I noticed your bathroom was potentially recently renovated. Why is that contractor not here? And the response typically is either one of two things. Oh, we bought the house, came like that. Okay. Or that contractor did okay, but it just wasn't really a good fit. I would never want that to happen on my project. That's an immediate failure. That's an immediate failure of an execution. So you came here, you did this bathroom, you lost everything else. All you had to do was exceed the expectation of the
So
customer.
I would say, Brandon, bring up a great, great point, and that is, I would say there's only three things important in sales. It's relationship, relationship, and relationship, right? That's it.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's but in sales, there's relationship, there's an understanding of your worth, and there's an understanding of the expectations, right?
okay.
You need to understand those components.
But what happens to most contractors, and I see this happen all the time, is you're right. They come in and the job is more important than the person, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
they'll leave, oh man, those cabinets were perfect, or I can't believe the flooring I did, or I did this, whatever, and they don't see the job as a person. They see the
Hmm.
job as some physical things they did to the house.
Yeah.
So I totally, how do you get the contractor to go from a focus on the job to a focus on the person?
Oh, I can't change their ego. That's all ego. So I can't change the type of person I deal with and work with. They need to, and they don't come to me either. Those guys don't come to me typically. The guys who have an ego that they're like, I'm good. I don't need any help. I'm doing great. And it's like, you might be doing great, but you could probably be doing a lot better. Those guys who have that type of ego, we don't work well together because I'm going to challenge you immediately off day one on how you're potentially doing everything wrong. I've got one of my contractors, he specializes in ADUs, like an additional living space. And up in Ontario, and I work with contractors throughout Canada, the United States, but up in Ontario, there's a land shortage. I don't know how, because we live in Canada, it's the largest landmass in freaking, the world, but somehow there's a land shortage. And so he builds these outdoor living spaces for either their kids to move into or the grandparents to move into or parents or uncles or aunts or whatever, or rental units. And so that contractor came to me. He's doing about $3 million worth of work, right? Dropped his ego. He's very successful before he came to me. Already successful. He's already doing great. Within 4 months, we have him slotted to do about $7 million worth of work. And all we did was change the way he approached everything. Everything was with intention. Everything was more strategic. Everything was more methodical, and everything was coached, right? And so the difference is, it's like he didn't come to me with an ego. He said, "What can I do? Tell me something that I can do." Right? And then we did it. And he did it. And he's like, "Holy shit, it worked. Holy shit, it worked." Like, he went to a trade show and he's like, "I don't want to go to a trade show. Those are horrible. That's not going to work. It's uncomfortable. I got to spend a bunch of money." And it's like, "Okay, trust me." So, okay, cool. I trust you because other things have worked, right? He books the trade show, 41 leads. He'd
Hmm.
never been to a trade show before in his life. 41 $250,000 leads
Wow.
in 3 days. So at the end of the day, the guys who have an ego that think their shit is perfect probably have never had a coach in their life.
Right.
And as soon as they have one, as soon as they drop their ego and as soon as they let somebody in, their business will change every time.
Well, there's no good team without a coach, right? We know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In any
Well, this
sport.
is in any sport.
In any sport. So, okay, well, that's so good. So, Brent, how do people get in touch with you? And how do you charge? How do you work with people? What's your business model?
Well, we charge, it's a 6 month program. A lot of people that run through our program end up staying. So we have a graduational program that you can graduate into. That's a more advanced process. And we have like a bi-weekly option as well. So when they graduate through that, but it's a 6 month program. We go through pricing on our sales calls. We have different payment options. So it is a high ticket program. I'm investing a lot of time. It is all one-on-one coaching. So either myself or some of the coaches that we have within our community. We also have a laundry list of educators. We're like the Avengers of construction. So it's not just me at the end of the day. Like, I have an army of people behind me that all fill in the gaps. We have some of the best website companies. We have some of the best accounting teams. We have some of the best brand designers, all
Okay.
construction specific. And so if anybody wants to connect with me, literally the best way is to drop into my DMs on Instagram and I will respond to you. So if you go give me a follow on Instagram at _contractor coach, say that you heard me on the podcast on the business success tips, with Paul, I definitely will respond to you and we'll see what we can do.
Cool. Well, thanks, Brandon. I agree with you totally because people are not, I would say a raving fan is an exception, not a rule with most contractors. So that'd be a huge
Yeah.
thing to pull off. I really thank you for your time. And I would definitely call Brandon. If you don't have a bunch of raving fans as clients spreading the word, you probably need someone like Brandon to fix it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Thanks a lot,
Well, I
Brandon, for
appreciate
your
it.
time.
Yeah, 100%. No problem.